Did you know Dominic Mysterio once betrayed mommy on live TV? In 2023, Dom wanted to give Rhea a night she'd remember forever. But unfortunately, what started as a love story quickly turned into a public disaster. When Dom and Rhea arrived at the restaurant, for some reason their table was already gone. Confused, Dom asked the waitress who dared to take their table. When she said Rey Mysterio, Dominic completely lost his mind, and without any hesitation, he pushed straight past the fence, ready to beat the shit out of his father. But to everyone's surprise, Rey didn't even argue. He calmly stood up, wished them happy Valentine's Day, and gave them the table. After that, Dom and Rhea enjoyed their time together until the bill arrived and reality stepped in. Dom handed over his first card, but the moment the waiter returned and quietly said it was declined, you clearly could see the shift on his face. Without a word, he pulled out another one, but this time the waiter came back even faster with the same answer. Then out of nowhere, police showed up and afraid Dominic ran away, leaving Rhea alone with a bill to pay. This moment made Kurt Angle a legend. But did you know it all happened by mistake? Let me explain. In 2005, Amy Weber tricked Kurt into thinking that there was something special between them, and before SmackDown, she decided to invite him to her locker room for a little surprise. Kurt, thinking he was about to get something special, couldn't resist, and with full confidence ran straight to Amy's locker room at the agreed time. But unfortunately, what he didn't know was that Amy had quietly switched the name tag on the locker room door, and unaware Angle had no idea he was walking right into a trap. When Kurt finally stepped into the room, he was convinced Amy was waiting for him, but as he looked closer, he only found Joy Giovanni in the middle of her shower. At first, Joy started screaming and ran out of the locker room. Surprisingly, Kurt decided to follow her, hoping to explain the accident. But when he finally found her, she was standing right next to Big Show. Obviously, Kurt tried to explain to Big Show what happened, but Show didn't believe him. Did you know Rey Mysterio once knocked out his son on live TV? As all the fans know, since the day Dominic was born, Rey swore he'd never lay a hand on his kid no matter what. But as time went on, Dominic wasn't a little kid anymore. From the moment he joined WWE, Dominic started crossing lines. First, he disrespected Rey in front of millions, then embarrassed him, and on top of that, he dared him to a fight at WrestleMania. But despite all of that, Rey remained quiet. Not because he was afraid of him, but because a part of him was still trying to protect the kid he used to know. Until one night on SmackDown, Dominic went too far by stepping to his own mother and saying something so disrespectful that the entire crowd turned on him instantly.
Mom?
After those words, Rey didn't even hesitate and charged straight at Dominic, landing a one clean shot. And right after that, Rey stood over afraid Dominic and said this.
I didn't want to hit you. You made me hit you. You don't disrespect your mother like that.
Did you know that Randy Orton and Triple H almost killed each other? In 2009, Triple H challenged Randy Orton to a fight, but instead of facing him like a man, Orton sent his crew to jump on him and left him handcuffed in the middle of the ring. When Stephanie heard what happened, she rushed straight into the ring to help her husband. But the moment she stepped inside, Randy hit her with an RKO, and on top of that, he kissed her right in front of her husband. And from that moment on, Triple was planning his payback. And a week later, he showed up at Randy's house ready to teach him a lesson. As soon as Randy saw him, he immediately panicked and ran away. Triple H ran after him until he stood right in front of Randy's wife, looked her dead in the eyes, and asked,
"Where is he?"
Unfortunately, she didn't say anything, and furious Triple kept hunting. Then out of nowhere, Randy jumped out from the corner and everything turned to chaos. But then Triple H grabbed him, threw him straight through the window, and before he could even breathe, Triple H was on top of him, pounding him on his lawn. Then out of nowhere, police showed up and arrested him. At the Royal Rumble in 2025, iShowSpeed was live streaming a raw, unfiltered look at WWE's backstage world. But just as he crossed paths with Dominic and Liv, something unexpected happened. As Speed was sightseeing backstage peacefully, all of a sudden Triple H walked up to him and said,
"Speed, you're in the Rumble, go!"
And before Speed could even process it, he was already at the main event stage. The crowd went absolutely crazy as he f***ed two wrestlers up like they were nothing, and on top of that, he even performed Ronaldo's legendary But unfortunately, wrestler named Braun Breaker got back into the ring and hit him with a devastating spear that left a nasty mark on his leg. At Monday Night Raw 2023, Dominic stepped into the ring with his father, Rey Mysterio. From the beginning, Dominic took full control of the match and even landed Rey's own 619 move that looked like it might end him. But suddenly when Rey kicked out, everything turned to chaos. And that's when he walked straight to the ringside and slapped his mother with a drink. When Rey wanted to help her, Dom brutally attacked him, and on top of that, he disrespected his mother again. But to everyone's surprise, Dominic wasn't done yet, and that's when he walked straight to the corner of the ring and pulled out a steel chain, choosing violence over victory. But as he turned around ready to strike him, the chain was already gone, and the moment he saw Bad Bunny holding it, Rey managed to deliver a devastating 619 that won the match. This WWE wrestler wanted to mess with John Cena's father, but everything everything went terribly wrong. It all happened just before SummerSlam in 2006, when Edge alongside his girlfriend Lita decided to cross a line no one expected. They drove straight to Cena's childhood home and started treating every corner like they owned the place. But as they mocked Cena's old photos, all of a sudden his father stepped in and screamed,
"Get out of my house! Both of you now! I don't remember inviting either one of you! I'm calling the police!"
But instead of leaving, Edge looked deep in his father's eyes and said,
"Don't worry, we're leaving."
Yeah, we're about to leave here.
Oh my God!
When Cena found out what happened, he promised himself that Edge wouldn't get away with that. And the next day, furious Cena stormed into Edge's hotel room and taught him a lesson. In 2008, Big Show decided to take Rey Mysterio as his next target in the ring, and one day as he stormed to face him, Floyd Mayweather jumped out of nowhere and rushed straight to the ring to humiliate this cocky giant. The crowd went absolutely crazy as Big Show dropped to his knees and started making fun of Floyd's size. Surprisingly, he even dared to punch him, but what Big Show didn't expect was that Floyd wasn't there to follow any script, and without any hesitation, he unleashed a lightning-fast combo that left Big Show speechless. Did you know Dominic Mysterio once fell from a cage on live TV? It all happened in 2024 during a title match between Rhea and Liv, with Dominic trapped in a steel cage above the ring. In the middle of the match, Dominic somehow managed to open the cage and ended up swinging helplessly, and that's when Rhea Ripley decided to grab kendo stick and rush straight from the ring to remind him just how wrong he was for choosing Liv over her. The crowd went absolutely crazy as Rhea started smashing him over and over again, making it crystal clear Dom had picked the wrong woman to ever mess with. Did you know that Boogeyman once tried to prank Donald Trump on live TV? Back in 2007, during the legendary Battle of the Billionaires, Trump was chilling on his phone in his hotel room, casually complaining about how badly Vince McMahon treated him and Miss America as guests. But then, to everyone's surprise, something unexpected happened. Boogeyman decided to go off script, and as the lights in the hotel room changed, he crawled out of nowhere trying to scare them. As Miss America saw him, she immediately escaped the room, while Trump remained unfazed. This wrestler sacrificed everything only to protect his best friend. Let me explain. It all happened at Halloween Havoc 1997, when WCW executives had already decided that Rey Mysterio would have an unmasking match with his best friend Eddie Guerrero. And here's the wild part. Eddie Guerrero was secretly handed a contract worth millions, but to everyone's surprise, he refused to do that, knowing it would destroy everything Rey stood for in Mexican wrestling. Instead, Eddie went to war with WCW executives to protect Lucha Libre tradition. But unfortunately, even though Eddie risked his entire career to protect his friend, it didn't stop WCW from unmasking him 2 years later. This wrestler thought Randy Orton was a joke, until reality proved him terribly wrong. Let me explain. On SmackDown 2017, WWE planned a massive celebration for one of the most undisputed Bulgarian champion, Rusev, where his hometown of Plovdiv would honor him in a traditional way. But as Rusev proudly accepted his reward, he made one crucial mistake by bragging about how easy it was to win in a fight against Randy Orton. After hearing those words, Randy decided to teach Rusev a lesson, and without any hesitation, he rushed straight to the ring to take a cocky champ down. In 2011, Mark Henry stormed into the ring ready to compete with a wrestler named Sin Cara, and as he finally stepped in, something unexpected happened. To everyone's surprise, Sin Cara never showed up, leaving Henry in a confusing situation. Later on, when Henry realized he got tricked right in front of millions, he furiously ran backstage, not only destroying everything on his path, but also swearing to quit WWE forever. Obviously, when Vince heard about it, he immediately apologized, but unfortunately, the damage was already done. This wrestler got paid millions of dollars only to do absolutely nothing. Back in 1998, Shawn Michaels, during his match at WrestleMania 14, took a devastating bump that injured his back forever. For months, fans genuinely believed his career was over, but to everyone's surprise, WWE made a decision that would shock everyone. Instead of firing him, Vince decided to offer him a $750,000 contract for the next 4 years. But here's the wild part. WWE wasn't just paying him to sit at home and do nothing. They were paying him to stay away from their biggest competitor at the time, WCW. In that way, Vince wasn't just protecting Shawn, he was making sure their biggest competitor could never steal one of the most talented performers in history. This wrestler beat the shit out of Strowman so bad that even ambulance tap out. It all started back in 2017, when Braun Strowman flipped entire ambulance with Roman Reigns inside. And from that moment on, Roman stopped chasing titles and started chasing revenge. So WWE gave him exactly what he asked for, an ambulance match where the only way to win is to trap your opponent inside a vehicle and slam the doors. During a match, Roman came at Beast using every trick he could to put him in an ambulance. But as Braun thought it was over, something unexpected happened. Roman managed managed to open the ambulance and delivered a devastating spear, and without any hesitation, Roman shoved Braun into the back of the car and crushed it into another truck. Have you ever wondered why Donald Trump and Vince McMahon hate each other? Let me explain. In the early 2000s, Donald and Vince collaborated on major WWE events, but over time, something strange happened. Trump started feeling like he doesn't matter, and that's when he started planning his revenge. So, in 2007, Trump challenged Vince to a one-on-one match in WrestleMania, but unfortunately, Vince just backed off, refusing to get in the ring, and as the crowd started booing him, Trump came up with even better idea. Each billionaire would choose one fighter to battle on their behalf, but whoever's fighter lost the match, their boss would be dragged into the ring and have their head shaved bald. At first, Vince laughed at Trump's idea, but the moment the crowd went crazy, he couldn't resist, and at WrestleMania 23, as the match started, Umaga dropped Lashley hard, but as the referee counted to 2, Stone Cold Steve Austin yanked the referee out of the ring and finished him like no one before. Vince froze in shock at what just happened, but before he could react, Donald Trump tackled him to the ground like a Stardust, and while the chaos was unfolding outside, Bobby got up and crushed him with a vicious spear that won the match. Did you know that Shaq and Big Show had a beef with each other? In 2009, after every victory, Big Show liked to call himself the world's undisputed giant, and for a long time, no one dared to prove him wrong. Until one day on Monday Night Raw, Big Show stepped into the ring for a 2-on-1 match with Shaq standing by as the special referee. From the start, Big Show dominated, and in the middle of the match, both opponents were already lying completely exhausted. And right after the match, Show turned to Shaq and told him to get in the ring, because deep down, he knew the real fight hadn't even started. And as you can imagine, Shaq immediately pulled off his referee shirt and stepped into the ring. At first, Big Show laughed, thinking it was all a joke, until he slightly pushed Shaq, and he didn't even hesitate to push him back. And then right after that, Big Show's massive hand went straight for Shaq's throat. But surprisingly, Shaq didn't back down and grabbed him back. Then out of nowhere, one of Big Show's opponents crashed into him, and immediately Shaq rushed straight into Big Show, sending the giant out of the ring. On Monday Night Raw 2016, Rusev and Lana were having their dream wedding celebration, but as the party hit its peak, everything turned to chaos. To everyone's surprise, Roman stepped into the ring, and as he looked straight at the happy couple, he dropped a line no one expected.
Thank you so much. I've never had the opportunity to see a marriage between a Bulgarian Sasquatch and a mail-order bride.
After hearing those words, Rusev rushed straight at him, and when everyone thought it was all over, something unexpected happened. As Rusev turned to tell his wife to step out of the ring, Roman delivered a devastating slap that sent Lana straight into the cake. This referee screwed John Cena so hard that she almost ended his career forever. On Monday Night Raw 2009, John Cena stepped into the ring thinking he was going to have a normal match against Edge, but what happened next took things to a whole new level of insanity. That night felt different from the start, because the special referee was none other than Vickie Guerrero. From the very beginning, when Cena gained the most control over Edge, you can clearly see that she wasn't happy about it. And when Cena finally had Edge down, all of a sudden Vickie threw herself on top of him, stopping Cena from delivering a devastating punch. But just as Cena backed off, something unexpected happened. As Vickie moved away from Edge, Cena quickly turned around and finished him with a vicious punch. This is why Braun Strowman should be protected at all costs, because during a holiday episode of SmackDown, he showed the world exactly who he is. That night, Braun and Ricochet were locked in a wild Christmas match against Imperium, but as Imperium suddenly knocked down Strowman, everything turned to chaos. To everyone's surprise, they immediately went after Ricochet and delivered him a vicious attack that sent him straight to the mat. But as everyone thought it was all over, Braun recovered, wiped out everyone on his path, and did something no one expected. Instead of helping his fallen friend, Braun went straight to the commentary table, grabbed a mistletoe, and called Samantha to go to the ringside. The crowd froze for a second as they didn't know what just happened, but as Braun held that mistletoe above them, Ricochet suddenly came back to life. Everyone sees Rey Mysterio as a hero, but to Dominic, he's the father who hurt him the most. Let me explain. It all started back in 2005 when a young Dominic stood in the WWE ring being completely unaware that his life was about to change forever. Because that night, Eddie Guerrero looked deep in Dominic's eyes and said this:
Dominic, Rey is not your father! I'm your father, Dominic!
After hearing those words, Dominic's face dropped, and he immediately turned to Rey and asked him this:
Is it true, Dad? Is it really true?
Unfortunately, Rey didn't answer his question, leaving Dominic heartbroken. This is why John Cena should be protected at all costs, because during Monday Night Raw in 2012, he showed the world exactly who he is. That night, Zack rolled to the ring, and for no reason slapped John Cena right across the face. Intuitively, everyone knew Cena could deliver a vicious punch that would end him. But to everyone's surprise, instead he stayed calm and let him walk away. But just when it seemed it's all over, all of a sudden Kane appeared, and without any hesitation, he sent Zack right to the ground. The moment Cena saw it, he rushed straight to exact side, helping the same man who slapped him minutes earlier. Once upon a time, Rhea and Liv were far from being enemies. In fact, they used to be on the same side, creating a team so solid it actually looked unstoppable. But everything changed as Dominic Mysterio had his first performance in the ring and Rhea fell in love instantly. From that point on, they were everywhere together, taking over backstage segments and even going on a date that left Rey Mysterio speechless. But behind all that, Liv was watching, trying to pull Dom away from the one person she once called a friend. By the time they stepped into the ring in 2024, this wasn't just a title match. It was the fallout of a friendship shattered by love for the same man. And as the match finally ended, something unexpected happened. As Liv walked out of the ring, Dominic, without any hesitation, decided to kiss Liv right in front of Rhea, ending their friendship forever. At WrestleMania 40, Randy Orton stepped into a triple threat match against Logan Paul and Kevin Owens, battling for the United States Championship. From the very beginning, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens focused all their attacks on Logan Paul, beating him down and leaving him exhausted. But when it seemed like it was all over, something completely unexpected happened. Suddenly, a Prime mascot jumped in and pulled Logan out just before he lost the match. Shockingly, the person under the mask was iShow Speed, secretly supporting Logan in the match. And here's the wild part. Speed, driven by desperation, charged straight at Randy Orton, mocking him in front of millions and sending the tension over the edge. After that, Randy didn't even hesitate and with a cold focus grabbed Speed, dragging him to the announcer's desk and delivered a vicious RKO that left Speed injured. In 2004, Rey and Eddie created moments that stuck with us for life, but unfortunately, one night during a face-off, something went terribly wrong. At WrestleMania 21, Eddie and Rey were set for a clean, respectful match, but when Rey took control and walked out with a win, everything changed. From that night on, years of brotherhood disappeared in a matter of seconds. At first, Eddie started exposing Rey's secrets in front of millions. Then he broke a promise he made to Rey by standing in the ring and telling Dominic that Rey wasn't his real father. And here's the wild part. In 2005, at SummerSlam, Vince McMahon decided to turn a family drama into a ladder match for Dominic's custody. At first, it looked like Eddie would win the match, but every time he got close to victory, Rey found a way to fight back. Back in 1991, wrestler known as Snake was already the master of mind games, but what happened next took things to a whole new level of insanity. That night, Jake unleashed a real cobra inside the ring and tied up Randy Savage with ropes, leaving him in the worst position possible. To everyone's surprise, Jake completely went off script, letting Cobra bite Savage, and as the snake's fangs went straight into Randy's arm, for the first time in WWE history, screams coming from the ring were completely real. This wrestler thought messing with Rey Mysterio was a joke, until reality proved him terribly wrong. It all started in 2019 when Brock Lesnar relentlessly bullied Rey Mysterio in front of millions, and then crossed the line by targeting Rey's son, who had no experience in the ring and was left in a bad physical condition. Rey tried to fight back Beast multiple times, but every single time Brock would end him with devastating F5 and walk away laughing, telling him to quit the ring forever. One night, Rey finally had enough, and on unforgettable SmackDown, right after Brock Lesnar beat Kofi Kingston in just 7 seconds, he showed up with someone Brock never wanted to see again. That man was Kane Velasquez, the same fighter who once beat Brock in the UFC and took the heavyweight title right in front of him. As soon as Kane locked eyes with him, he rushed straight to the ring, took Brock down, and started hitting him over and over, until for the first time in WWE history, Brock backed away completely afraid. This WWE wrestler wanted to receive this move from Torrie Wilson, but everything went terribly wrong. Let me explain. It all happened in 2003 during a tag team match between Nydia, Jamie Noble, and Rey Mysterio with Torrie Wilson. At first, everything seemed to be going exactly as Jamie planned, but just as he closed his eyes, Rey Mysterio suddenly jumped out of nowhere and performed the move he'd been waiting for. Later, when he realized it was all a setup, he got slapped by Torrie and hit with a 619, while his partner had way better luck. On November 9th, 1997, Bret Hart stepped into Survivor Series thinking he was defending his title in a fair fight. But what he didn't know was that Vince McMahon had already rigged the ending behind his back. In the final seconds of the match, when Shawn Michaels locked Bret into sharpshooter, before Bret could even react, the bell rang, and just like that, the match was over. Crowd froze for a second as they didn't understand what just happened. But Bret's fury eyes said it all as he realized he'd been tricked right in front of millions. And what happened next is even crazier. As Bret looked Vince dead in the eyes and spit right in front of his face, he showed the world it wasn't just some random accident. It was betrayal at the highest level. After the tag team match in 2005, Triple H decided to mess with the wrong kid at the ringside. At first, he wanted to scare him by faking a punch, but Fearless Kid didn't back down and started swinging for real. You could clearly see his mom begging him to stop, but the brave kid refused to do that. So Triple H grabbed a steel chair, but to everyone's surprise, he barely reacted. Then out of nowhere, Shawn Michaels slid to the ringside, took a kid and carried him on a full victory lap all around the arena. But unfortunately, it made Triple H even angrier, forcing the referee to step in and hold him back. On SmackDown 2002, Rikishi was preparing for a fight with Booker, but before stepping into the ring, Rikishi decided to visit the toilet to take care of his business. Then out of nowhere, Booker also also walked there and said,
Damn, man! Would you do something with that, bro?
Rikishi just laughed, because deep down, he knew this might not end well for him. And as the match started, Booker threw a few quick punches, and Rikishi, not to be worse, answered with big slams that shook the ring. Then, right in the middle of the match, Rikishi trapped Booker in the corner and hit him with his well-known move that later didn't end up well. At live event in 2016, wrestler named Stardust decided to mock a fan from the ringside, and then made it even worse by slapping him across the face. But what he didn't expect was that this guy wasn't just some ordinary fan, and the moment the slap landed, the guy leapt over the barricade and charged straight to the ring to take him down. Did you know that Eddie Guerrero once pranked Big Show on live TV? It all started in 2003 when Eddie Guerrero won his first WWE championship. At first, Eddie started running his mouth, claiming he was finally on Big Show's level, but Big Show, completely unbothered, said this:
I don't like you.
And right after that, Big Show knocked both men out and dropped a line that no one expected.
Told you I said.
From that moment on, Eddie started planning his revenge in the most unexpected way. Especially for Big Show, he decided to order a burrito filled with a few special ingredients. And later in the middle of the match, he felt the consequences of that and immediately had to run to the bathroom while the cameras were still rolling. But Eddie wasn't done yet. He followed Big Show into the bathroom and took every roll of toilet paper, leaving him in the worst situation possible. Which moment do you like the most? Let me know down below, and I'll see you next time.